What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 206 of the Tastecast, our weekly podcast where we talk about all things gaming. My name's Seth, and joining me today, of course, is Chevy. Chevy, how you doing? And in this crazy time where we're being bombarded with a magnetic storm that I was able to see the actual Aurora Borealis in Washington last night. Really crazy. All the while happening on your birthday weekend. Happy birthday, early birthday. You're going to be the big 4-1. Which is buck wild. I'm not quite there yet. I'm 37, but I'm on my way. Geomagnetic storm. You're getting older. How you feeling about all that?
I have no qualms with aging, so no problem there. The electromagnetic storm is a kind of a crazy thing, but we also kind of live in a light polluted area, and my eyes are not great, so I could not see it. But you showed me some pictures, so I was able to see it that way. Otherwise I'm doing pretty good. I'm looking forward to entertainment wise, not wallet wise, this weekend. You know, obviously with birthday and Mother's Day and stuff like that. So
yeah, kind of a weird time. We got to celebrate you and Mom at the same time.
That being said, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
True.
So yeah, yourself?
I'm good. I got to look at some really cool stuff last night with the Aurora Borealis was happening. It was really hard to see with my own eyes, but you could see some stuff. I could see some greens and some pinks and stuff like that. Busted out my phone. It's using weird technology to do night shots because you couldn't see it through the phone, but you take the picture, and after the night shot, it would render that light. But then I busted out the professional camera, and I was able to basically just see it in real time, take pictures of that. So that was really neat because I haven't seen that in my life, so that's always fun. Excited. Later we'll be celebrating your birthday, so that should be fun, and celebrating Mom and mothers, so that should be fun. It could be a busy weekend, but that's cool. And I'm excited to talk about what we have to talk about in this episode, even though I'm going to let you guys know there is like no videos really out. There's like a lot of indie stuff, which shout out to the indie scene right now. They're killing it. There's so many indie games, and the quality's just going up and up and up. But I think because there's big events coming up in, I think, like June, a lot of things are being held back.
Yeah,
so we got a couple videos to watch here, but we got some topics to talk about, so we should probably hop into those.
Okay.
Before we jump into game releases, let's talk about real quick AAA's in freefall right now, basically. It's kind of crazy. There's so many problems with AAA right now. It's insane, and it just keeps stacking it up. All the while, like I mentioned, indie in the mid-game are like booming. They're like saving gaming right now. It's indie boom 2.0, but also like AA boom 2.0. If you're not AAA, you're killing it right now probably. It's really exciting to see. But with that, one of the big things that have been happening lately outside of Mikey Barra, we talked about in the last Tastecast, wanting to add tipping to games. EA recently has come out and said that they are prototyping in-game ads as we speak. Now, in this article, they do mention, I think fairly, that their website has ads, so they can't really talk too much, I guess, about that, but they said they're not very interested in games that might be doing this. But basically, what's his name? Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA, basically said it's not their main priority right now, but they are prototyping how to put ads into games. I saw somebody else talking about when you pause a game, there may be an ad. Roku's also trying to do a proprietary thing that no matter what kind of TV you have, whenever it's idle, ads would be popping up on your screen through the HDMI. It's going to have a way to do that, which I'm not a fan of. I get you got to make money and have ads and stuff like that, but it's feeling a little desperate. So yeah, a lot of crazy things happening. Also, we should probably touch on real fast when it comes to AAA. Nothing against the developer of Helldivers 2 because they were told to do this, but of course the big thing that happened with them, Sony was pushing that people on PC needed to have PSN accounts to play Helldivers 2 after the game had already released. A lot of people argue that they said they would do this eventually anyway. A lot of people argue that I'm being held to new legal rules that I did not agree to when I purchased the game, refund my game Steam, and then of course the people who would not have access to Helldivers 2 if It got pushed to PSN because there's no PSN in those countries. People were vocal about, I'm going to refund your game. We're going to review bomb the shit out of your game. Sony listened, which is fucking wild.
Notoriously doesn't as well.
Devs and big publishers don't in general anyway, but Sony definitely doesn't. Yeah. And they reversed it. So congrats. Anyone who's complaining about that, it's fucking buck wild to me, because as a person who was fine with the PSN thing personally, I'm like, I don't care.
Sure, it doesn't affect us.
I'll connect to PSN. Yeah. I'm on PC. It's fine. I'll do it. But we always say, vote with your wallet. If you're the consumer and someone's selling you something and you don't want that, tell them. That's the deal. This isn't a fucking charity. And people were like, we don't want this. And people were like, stop whining. And then they're like, no. And they kept complaining. And then Sony listened. So obviously Sony was like, maybe we're a little off base here. That's a win. People need to do this more often. Like, if there's an issue with a game and you don't like it, and you can make change like they proved you could, that's fucking what we talk about all the time. So anyway, that happened. That was a win. Not much to talk about there because it's over. But what do you think about this EA prototyping in-game ads thing?
I mean, just straight up, I don't need to play an EA game. This is the tricky part, because obviously, like, there's going to be IPs I love from some AAA developers, but if it gets to the point where my experience is feeling only like my purpose in buying your product is to be a source of income to you, I'm not interested anymore. I will not participate. I will stop playing EA games.
Well, at that point, the way you're viewing me as your consumer, and I'm the customer here.
Sure.
But your business, the business model you are deciding for us to have in our business relationship is not interesting to me anymore.
Yeah. I actually think I'd rather use the word customer in this point than consumer.
Sure.
I am not your piggy bank.
Yep.
So
make an MMO, then I can be, and I've chose to be part of that. But
they already do mobile games anyways.
Yep.
Like, if that's your interest, just stop making AAA games and just focus on mobile. Like, yep. Fuck it, dude. Like, you don't care, obviously. So,
yep.
And that goes to Roku as well. Like, I don't own one of your TVs anyways, but I sure as fucking buying one now. So,
to kind of put a light on this, obviously it's not the same, but imagine you're playing The Last of Us Part 2 or God of War Ragnarok. I'm just bringing up big AAA games that are like, you play it, you beat it, you're like, holy shit, that story was amazing. Imagine you're like 10 hours into Ragnarok, some big crazy things have happened, you're fucking loving it, you pause the game, and just like a Pepsi ad pops up. Now, some people probably are like, well, I don't care, whatever. A lot of people probably aren't, but somebody will tell me, oh, I don't care, it's not a big deal. But for me, that would just kill the fucking immersion. And like, I don't get immersed into the worlds of games, but I do get engrossed in the story, and like, I'm enjoying the flow of it. And for somebody to interrupt that to show me like a Mountain Dew commercial or like Nike or something like that, whatever the fuck, a Hulu commercial comes up because I paused the game or whatever, I'm not interested in that at all. Like, to the point that if EA does this, whatever games have this, I will not be buying.
Yes, same.
It's not even like I'm upset they're doing something I don't like. It's like, I don't want to support this idea moving forward. It's like a hard stance. I will not support ads in games. And at this point too, like I mentioned before, AAA's in a weird place right now, and they're making a lot of mistakes, and they still have money to ride this out for a little bit, but they don't have infinite money. And so if they keep fucking up, and it's a weird time for them to be experimenting with shit like this, if they keep fucking up, it's really going to be bad for them, because there are too many other options outside of AAA now for me. I mean, most of the games I play now are just like AA to indie games on Steam. I'm playing those all the fucking time now, because that's where the ideas are at. Yeah. AAA's not bringing out the ideas. They only bring out the budget of how good a game can look. And like we were talking about before we even started filming, that gap is lessening in terms of like what an indie game or AA game can look like compared to a AAA game. AAA is running out of fucking steam on what they even exist for. And so I already don't play a whole lot of EA games anyway.
I mean, I don't know either, but that's not because of their what IPs they own as much as like just how much they keep fucking them up, man. I used to love Dragon Age. I used to love Mass Effect. I used to like playing their games.
I loved Dead Space remake, and they came out and they're like, we're not making a second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, in a large part of this obviously is like, when you become that big, your interest isn't even in immediate profits. Like Dead Space, for example, that remake. Let's say they were profitable on it. That doesn't matter, because they want constant long-term investment, because they're more concerned about a constant flow of income, not a just boom, here's some income off of the thing you made, because they're beholden to stockholders. Mm-hmm. This has nothing to do with creativity anymore. Like when you're that big, it is just money. So yeah, it kind of sucks, and I think that is becoming more and more apparent with a lot of people, because smaller devs, though they obviously care about money, gaming's not a charity, but there is generally a passion still, and an idea, and like some love for the medium in that regard. So, not to say that people who work on AAA games don't have that, but there are a lot who don't, because they didn't come into it as gamers. They came into it as programmers and people who wanted to work in tech, and they got a job. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I never blame the boots on the ground,
sure,
people who are working on these games,
because
they're employed. Yeah. They're employed. They're doing their job. It's the people who are making the decisions, and sometimes even the leads of these devs. You can't blame too much either, because like they're beholden on the people who dangle the money on, funding these projects. In light of all the Xbox stuff lately, which we'll talk about a little bit, there's a clip from Double Fine when they got bought up by Xbox. They did like a video series where they're talking about behind the scenes stuff, and they had a quick clip that's resurfacing right now of when Phil Spencer and Matt Booty were coming in talking with them when they're taking them on. And then one of the guys from, I think, Double Fine was like, yeah, Phil Spencer comes in, Matt Booty come in. They're like, yeah, we love what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. But wait till, he said like Fred or something from accounting, finds out about money loss by like, Friday or whatever. And then we'll hear about that. So he's kind of talking about the different layers of, some people, even Phil Spencer, all these guys are like, yeah, it's great. But once, the hard line hits with like, Microsoft's budget or whatever, they'll it doesn't matter what they're saying. Things are going to have to be adjusted. So,
yeah, I mean, and just to reiterate and to basically keep it a little on the shorter side, I guess, this is not. And like, there's nothing consumer friendly about this, customer friendly about this. This is only for them.
It's too blatant, it's too transparent. Yeah. There's nothing beneficial to the customer here.
And I've always been like understanding of like trying to find ways to make money, because I understand making games this big is a huge financial investment, and risky, super risky. I get it. There are more creative ways to, even with ads, right? An example I want to bring up is like Stellar Blade, right? There's a way you can collect cans throughout the world, and they actually tried getting people to basically buy ad space on the cans that she collected, and no one did, which I feel like is a loss for those people.
But it's a loss for the people, but it's not for the people playing the games, because I've seen so many people on X going that they love when she holds the cans in a cool way. Yeah. Because she'll like turn around and hold it in a certain way, and that would have been perfect for like an actual advertiser.
Perfect. Yeah, and it would have like made sense, right? Because it's supposed to be, an old Earth or something, right? I believe so.
But in a way, it might have ruined that for a lot of people if it did have actual. But Death Stranding had
Monster.
Yeah, and it didn't ruin anything for me. Yeah. But there's a weird irony to Hideo Kojima doing that he can get away with it.
Well, like I said, there are creative ways to have advertising without just, you're paused, let me roll an ad. Like that's what I mean. You're essentially doing Twitch and YouTube at that point. Like, and everybody hates that who watches Twitch and YouTube. So like, anyways.
You can make like more money. I know you got to spend a little money to do this, but you can make more money if you just made like must own, must have content that people can buy. I spend like
or fun merch.
Just anything. Just offer something people fucking have to have. It's so cool that they just want it so bad. I keep spending money in the finals. And I bitch about it, but I keep doing it because I want what they're offering me. And their monetization is money hungry. It's getting better for sure. They recently just are beta testing selling individual pieces of full bundles, which is something we've been talking about forever. So they're listening, and they actually did an AMA recently. It was really insightful. I'm really excited for the future of that game. But that's an example of like, I feel like I want what they're selling. And so they're making a lot of money off of it. They made more money off of me than I would have spent on like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield.
Well, and most people, I think, would agree cosmetics are like okay when it comes to that.
Sure,
kind of
but they already hooked me, which is the first part.
Yeah.
Hook, make me want something from them. And I don't, they're just on the line of just not making me feel completely being used for money, right? Like it's close, but it's not quite. So they're doing a good job there. But when I'm playing like a premium AAA game, and they're like, we need just some more money. How do we do that? Well, just throw some ads in there. When they watch it, we'll get like, residual payout from that. And it'll be great for us. And it's like, well, what about, you're not even trying to trick me into thinking this is good for me. You're just like, yeah, fuck it. Make them watch ads. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but I've used like a free app or something before, and it's like, or even like a mobile game or something. It's like, watch this ad and get something.
Yeah.
Right? That feels so fucking cheap and like shitty to do, but I've done it in certain situations. Even I think like CapCut on TikTok or whatever has things where it's like, watch this ad, we'll give you a free something.
Oh, interesting.
I hate that shit, but I've done it. But that scummy feeling comes with these like free apps where like you get it, it's a free thing. They got to get something from you. It's not for free.
I mean, I use Duolingo, and every lesson is an ad after it. Sometimes
I got the premium Duolingo, so I don't get to experience that. But that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, these models make sense when they do that. But like when you're spending top dollar, what they expect, $70 on a fucking AAA game, new standard, where there's going to be new DLCs, battle passes, season passes, all this shit, and now there's like also ads. It's like, okay, you're adding free to play elements into your premium games. Not into it. There's got to be they got to be different. Otherwise, your AAA games aren't even fucking worth it anymore. You keep making repetitive bullshit that looks nice. I don't care about that. Look at Suicide Squad. Like, game's forgotten.
Yeah, and I play mobile games, so though none of them do the ad thing that I play, which is funny. I've seen it obviously in plenty of them.
I don't play much mobile games. I've just experienced it. So
yeah, no, it's common. The big thing that happens in a lot of ones I play is after you hit certain checkpoints, they'll offer you like bonus materials, so you get like an ad will just pop up for an in-store purchase thing that you get X out of. But again, there's a different understanding here because I'm playing the game for free versus like paying you $70 for a game. So expectations do change a bit. So, and if you are going to do stuff like this, start making all your games free to play, all of them.
Yeah, sure, do that.
So.
You might make more from people who will tolerate that, and at least you're being more honest in what you're doing. So,
yeah. At which point, I can't complain anymore because
sure.
my investment is the ad. So,
yeah, a AAA $70 game should feel premium.
100%.
If they don't feel premium anymore, you're just not going to get my money anyway. So might as well release it for free. So.
Yep. It's annoying. So.
Yeah. So overall, we pretty much agree. We're both against it. I will go out of my way to not buy games like this. I won't support it. And I typically don't, I got a small channel here on TikTok. I got a bigger audience, but both places, I will try to encourage people to also not. I don't think I'd have to push too hard, but like,
I think most people would hate it.
Just help spread the word on like, we as a community don't want this, don't support it. I know a lot of gamers our age are just not going to be into it anyway because we grew up with a different standard. But even younger people, don't accept bullshit like this from the companies. They're trying it out. Let them try it. Don't support it. Make them realize this isn't the future. This isn't what we're going to do. Pull a Sony and get them to fucking pull back from it. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's know in the comments what you guys think about that. And with that, there's another thing I want to talk about, which is the whole thing with Xbox recently. I have a clip I want to play here in a sec, but everybody knows what happened. Xbox came out and said after some leaks popped out that they are disbanding Arkane Austin, who made Redfall and I forgot Prey, and then fucking Tango Gameworks, which is just like so fucking disappointing for me, who made Ghostwire Tokyo, Evil Within 2, which are just phenomenal games. Hi-Fi Rush, which was like the most praised Xbox game last year. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? They're closing those places down just a year after Phil Spencer was in an interview saying that, mentioning Arkane Austin, Tango, when these companies want to make something new and different, when people are expecting one thing, we allow them to do that because we want them to, try things out or whatever. And then they did. And then Hi-Fi Rush was celebrated and then axed. Just fucking crazy. Which, in the landscape of gaming, is making sense. Not that they picked those ones, but that they're cutting, because we're going to see that more and more with a lot of these companies.
Especially with the advent of AI.
Well, with the AI, with how the economy's going, with just a lot of the money being lost in gaming right now, especially in the AAA sector, because they've put themselves up so high in terms of how much they're spending on their games, and they're not making that back or what they want to be making back. So the environment right now has just not been good. There's been layoffs going on since 2023, 2022 even. Knew it'd keep going forward. So it's hard to watch, but this one's just so weird and questionable. And someone brought up a really good point. They're like, if it was just Arkane Austin, which I would have been upset about as well anyway, even though I didn't like Redfall, or Prey. I wasn't a big Prey fan, even though people love that game. They said even if it was just Arkane Austin, people wouldn't be this outraged. It's Tango that people are really pissed about, and I agree with that. Just because it seems fucking weird that they got rid of them. It's Xbox's only Japanese dev. They said they wanted Japanese devs. They had one. They got rid of it, which is weird. Hi-Fi Rush was like the Xbox darling of 2023. In a otherwise year where they're getting like a lot of criticism for a lot of their releases, Redfall, Starfield, all this shit. Hi-Fi Rush was just celebrated across the board by everybody. They even released physical copies because people wanted it. I mean, like, it was like a triumph for Xbox. It might not have made the numbers, the money that a big AAA game would have, but it wasn't a big AAA game. So really kind of crazy. So yeah, anyway, with all that, everybody knows about what's going on there. I'm going to play this clip real quick of Sarah Bond, who is the president of Xbox at Microsoft. Oh, also really weird. I didn't read the full article, but there's an article that came out saying that some devs at Xbox say that the feeling around Xbox now doesn't feel like Xbox is a thing anymore. It's Microsoft gaming. They're pretty much saying Microsoft is kind of coming in and taking over Xbox. So
yeah, I mean, I think ever since they started making a push towards like cloud gaming and Game Pass and stuff, that Xbox felt like it was kind of being slowly pushed aside.
Put anyways. To the wayside. Yeah. In this interview at some point too, Sarah Bond says that they're opening up their own mobile store here soon.
I've watched this video.
You watched the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll watch it for the context for people at home, but she does mention at another part in this interview, we won't watch the whole thing, but that they're making their own mobile store. It's going to open up this year, I think, on browser, and then later on phone, where you can get Minecraft and Candy Crush and all sorts of shit.
Yeah, first party titles first.
So, and somebody on X was like, so they're just going to be a mobile company now? I don't think it'd be quite that, but they are definitely prioritizing it. So anyway, with all that said, let's watch this real quick on Sarah Bond's thoughts, then we'll talk about it. This is Xbox President Bond on the gamer's future in 3, 2, 1, go.
I think one of the things that was most upsetting both to Xbox gamers and to employees is that, one of the shuttered studios in particular just created a hit game, did really well on Game Pass in terms of engagement, and won a ton of awards. Shouldn't succeeding in that way ensure the future of a studio?
You know, one of the things I really love about the games industry is it's a creative art form. And it means that the situation and what success is for each game and studio is also really unique. Like, there's no one size fits all to it for us. And so we look at each studio, each game team, and we look at a whole variety of factors when we're faced with sort of making decisions and trade-offs like that. But it all comes back to our long-term commitment to the games we create, the devices we build, the services, and ensuring that we're setting ourselves up to be able to deliver on those promises.
Talking, further about growth. I mean, one of the key focus areas for
all right.
Xbox
So basically, she gave a non-answer.
Yeah,
it was just fluff talk.
The whole video is PR speak, but
yeah. So how do you feel about Xbox? How Xbox is handling this?
Pausing point.
This. Sure, I wasn't even looking at that.
Sorry about that.
Basically, Xbox acquired a lot of companies, which a lot of people. That's a little better. They acquired a lot of companies that a lot of people are really excited about. I was apprehensive about that because we're both, not the biggest fans of just acquiring everybody, because look at Embracer, it's a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
And now with Xbox, it's like you took on all these companies, now you're just destroying them. Like literally. I know it almost sounds like extreme, like you're destroying all of them. Like no, but you're literally disbanding, getting rid of them. Which is kind of crazy, especially with the company that everybody always says, like, oh, Microsoft has infinite money. They can do whatever the hell they want.
$3 trillion.
They can just do whatever. They always, like, that's the big argument people always bring up when they're defending Xbox. Like, Xbox is owned by Microsoft. They got so much money. Well, yeah, they got so much money, but they don't sell as many consoles as PlayStation, who has less money than them. They have plenty, but not as much as Microsoft. And they're destroying devs that are celebrated with all their money. So obviously that money doesn't fucking matter, because they're a company and they got to make money, not spend money. So it's just really interesting to see them take on all the shit, destroy shit. So how are you feeling about the brand of Xbox right now, the future of Xbox, where it's heading? We think about the specific situation, and yeah.
I think Xbox is going to be fine. Just reputation wise, obviously it's going to take a while to fix a lot of that. The only big problem I have is that I feel like a lot of these decisions are being made because of the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, to be honest, because they got pulled into a bunch of court cases for monopoly stuff, and I think it's to make them look a little better, to cut some companies, and so they just cut some that they deemed just risky, I would say. Obviously, Redfall, was a bit of a
terrible launch.
A mess. But
Kerfuffle.
Just in general, both those companies, what they make is, basically what you would call one and done experience. I guess Hi-Fi Rush is replayable, but the whole point is like they're just like you buy it and that you're done spending money, and we just got done talking about with EA in investment wise. Companies see those types of games as risk, like high risk things, because there's no coming back from it if it does poorly, versus like service games. Even if it starts poorly, there's opportunity to make money down the road with it, which obviously is not, as a person who plays games, not the thing you want to hear. I would more so celebrate a game that I buy. I get the game, and it's amazing, right? But from a business standpoint, that's not what they're looking for, and that's the kind of stuff they cut, if you notice. And then you brought up the mobile thing earlier. They're not doing that because those games aren't available. They're doing that because, like Steam, like PlayStation, like the Xbox store, you get a cut when things sell.
It's just funny though, because like both PSN and Xbox or Game Pass, they're stagnant on growth. They're not going anywhere. It's crazy. They're just locked. So they're trying to find new things to do. But like Microsoft is like the fucking king of trying things and not being the best at it and just dropping it. And so the idea, and if you don't believe me, look it up. There's like fucking 25 different things.
You got a pretty big
Microsoft,
graveyard.
it's insane. Microsoft has made so many things because they got the money to try it, but they're real smart and good about just get rid of it, which we're kind of seeing right here. But the whole like mobile thing, like we're gonna have our own place. It's like, yeah, you can be like Ubisoft and try and have your own thing, but who the fuck's gonna use it? Like, unless they only, like Epic, make it so you can only get it there, I would get that. But, like, Game Pass isn't even growing. So, like, you think you're going to have, like, a mobile thing for you that people are going to come to? Like, it really feels like, honestly, I think Phil Spencer, as much as I like the guy, needs to step down. I think they need someone else. This Sarah Bond chick doesn't seem like she's very good at what she's doing either. I think they need new leadership at Xbox because it sounds like Microsoft is going to come in and just like look for results or start axing things off. Because Xbox is, like, in my opinion, being mismanaged. It's an established brand, and so you don't have to sell it to anybody. But like they can't get a win. They can't do anything that gets people excited. Like they're trying all these weird things that are like just making them look like shit. I don't know. It's wild.
I think a big part of the problem too is specifically in like Western business, the ever never-ending goal of more profit year over year over year. I think that's not sustainable, and because eventually you do hit cap. I mean, like even Facebook is basically like there's no new members because there's only so many people, man. And I think in a hobby, there's only so many people doing the hobby. And out of those people, how many are willing to spend X amount of dollars per month or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So we're hitting these caps, but they still want year over year over year profits versus like that's less of a thing like Eastern culture. It's just like, is it successful? Good. And that's the end of it. Versus here is like, is it more successful than last time? Is it more? And I think that mentality just needs to go. So
yeah. It's kind of the nature of the beast, though, when you get to a certain point.
But it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
But I think
more sustainable profits.
They're going to learn.
So
all these big companies are going to learn soon.
Sure.
That we're going to see more layoffs because the AAA devs are not making what they need to make, and so having a team of that size that's not making the money that they need to grow to make is going to result in people getting cut. You're going to see a lot more AA and indie companies being made out of these people who have been laid off, which I think will be good in the long run, but it's going to be rough for people financially.
Well, it's going to suck.
Yeah, it's going to suck, but it's happening right now. My big thing, it's kind of like the ads with EA, how blatant it is. This Xbox thing looks really bad because with a company that people are, constantly trying to find the light and like defend, and then they do stuff like this, and it's like it's hard to defend it. Like I understand why they did it, but it looks really bad because sure. I don't know if Prey was being it wasn't for sure being developed when Xbox owned them, but I don't remember if it released before Xbox acquired them or not. But that's not that. I don't view that game as like being developed under Xbox. So the only game that was developed under Xbox is Redfall. The problems with Redfall for me when I look at that is Xbox wasn't paying attention to that game, and so there was obvious problems before it came out, and they released it anyway. So that's a leadership issue. Phil Spencer should have came in, saw those issues, and went delay the game. We need it to come out so people are happy, not release it and completely fuck us. So that's an Xbox problem. Redfall had its issues. I didn't pick it up because it looked like shit when it came out, but that's Xbox's fault. Of course, the people making it made it bad, but Xbox should not have released it because they're so desperate to get something out on Game Pass. That's their fucking fault. Now Arkane Austin's gone because of Xbox's lack of leadership. And then Evil Within, Evil Within 2 are phenomenal games. You should play them. It's fucking criminal that we're not getting a third one. Those came out before Xbox. Ghostwire Tokyo was already developed and being released around the time Xbox took them on. So these are not Xbox developed games. These are just Tango Gameworks were doing their thing, got acquired.
I think it's also worth noting. I think everything Tango's made has been reviewed well.
Yeah. They're just like, like a lot of Japanese games. They don't sell the same as like, a fucking Call of Duty or something. But what does? But these games all came out, all praised from people who did play them. But these were not developed under Xbox. And then the one game that was developed under Xbox, Hi-Fi Rush, was widely celebrated. It won a bunch of awards. People loved it across the board. And they axed them too. So it's like, it seems so reckless. But also in the same breath, I guess, you look at all the companies that Xbox owns. And they got to axe somebody, right? You're not going to axe anything from Activision Blizzard.
They're also all under the Bethesda umbrella,
Yes.
right? And Bethesda also has had issues lately. So
Sure, well, fucking, but that's the
but you're
problem
not
too.
going
Is
to axe
if
Bethesda.
sure, that's the point I'm trying to make. Is the prioritization is not going to be any of the headliners. So like, Starfield, people liked it. I'm not saying people only disliked it, but a lot of people didn't like it. Even Bethesda fans didn't like it.
There's more people playing Skyrim right now than Starfield.
Yes. And the game could be in a better state. I don't know. I played it. I liked it. I didn't love it, but
I didn't.
But it was fine. I've had people yell at me when I say I like it. I'm like, I'm not even saying I loved it. I'm not a big Bethesda guy anymore. But I thought it was fine as a shooter. The AI was fucking horrendous though. But if that game underperforms, they're not going to punish Bethesda yet, right? It's got to go. It's got to trickle down, and it trickled down to Tango. It trickled down to what is that noise?
That would be
That is awful.
a
sounding.
backup on a truck.
Well, thanks for sharing. It's got to trickle down. So it trickled down to Tango and it trickled down to Arkane Austin, which out of all of them, Arkane Austin makes the most sense, but I still think it's unfair because they only had one shot that was mismanaged by Microsoft. And that's it. They're like, oh, you fucked up once, it's over. Tango did not deserve it, but they're the smaller company, so they're like, this would hurt us least out of all these, because what are we going to do? Get rid of id? What are we going to do? Get rid of Bethesda? Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to do that. So, I think they should have gave both companies one more shot. It would have been expensive, but I think it would have looked better than this.
Well, don't dip into their $3 trillion.
Yeah. So yeah, it's wild, and I got I've been saying for a while. I think Phil Spencer needs to step down. It's not a personal thing. I think he's not an aggressive enough dude to lead a company that desperately needs leadership now. Like, they just do not have it. And at first people are like, it's great. They're hands off. We can do whatever we want. You need somebody to be a little hands on though. Like, if you have a team with no leadership, that team's not going to be winning regularly. Like, you need a central focus of the team to do things and not just be like, hey, when everybody can play anywhere, everybody wins. Cool. But how are you going to do that? We need focus. We need something to work towards. And Phil Spencer's not offering that. And then the other two people, Matt Booty and fucking Sarah Bond, they both are like too corporate minded to even offer any leadership outside of like, we need money. We need money. So
Yeah, and there's an interview, so let me do it.
yeah. So I already have been lacking faith in Xbox while rooting for them. I'm not an anti-Xbox guy.
Oh, for sure.
I've been rooting for Xbox. I've been saying this year's the fucking year that they need to kill because Sony, I thought was not going to have a lot of things to release, but they're killing it again this year. So take that as you will. And Xbox is just floundering still. And so my faith, not only in Phil Spencer, but the company is like really shaken. They got to do something dramatic to get that back. And Hellblade 2 is not even being advertised. That shit comes out in like a week.
Does it?
Yeah. There was somebody on X that was like, does anybody think it's weird that Hellblade 2 is coming out in a week and no one's advertising for it? And I was like, you're doing more advertising than they are right now. I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And then after that, because it was gaining traction, Xbox was tweeting about Hellblade. And everybody's like, you want to put an ad out, man?
So not everyone's on Twitter, man. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's like I don't know what the fuck Xbox is doing. So I hope they can turn around, but they're making some really stupid fucking decisions that I think are becoming very undeniable to everybody. Kind of funny. I'm not a fan of them, but they had an Xbox podcast. They're discontinuing it. There's nothing to talk about anymore. They don't have anything to talk about. Luckily, I think the people who worked for that podcast are being put into other positions.
I would hope so.
But that's kind of crazy that like because there's nothing to talk about Xbox wise regularly enough that they can't
It's sustainable to have a show.
Yeah, they can't invest in the show, and it's like that's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
There's another Xbox thing like that recently that was kind of crazy, but I can't remember it. Oh, last thing I want to mention: why couldn't they just divest these brands?
That's the big question.
Sell them.
Yeah.
You just fucking destroy them? Like, poof, get the fuck rid of this. Like, you couldn't have sold Tango to somebody else?
Or allow them by themselves, maybe, or
Yeah,
something.
like something. You're just like, oh, nope, this ain't working. Get rid of it. That's fucking crazy.
Well, it's probably because they want to keep the IPs.
Yeah, probably. It's so depressing. It's such a bad fucking move. The only thing that's not bad about it for them is like they get to save some money. So I guess they get what they want. But we're just to wrap it all up from the beginning to here of this whole conversation. AAA is in a really fucking weird place right now, and they're being so transparent on all the things that we already complain about anyway. But now it's just like blatantly in our face. That like. My final thoughts on this is like support indie and support AA, dude. Like let's get those smaller devs growing, and so they can make bigger and better projects. Even like Helldivers 2, even though that's technically published under Sony, that's like a AA dev that made it like one of the most exciting games this year. So it's just the raw ambition of smaller devs that are hungry. Let's support those guys. I know anybody who's listening to this already agrees with that, but like, I'm really fatigued from AAA. I can't even think of a AAA game I'm like super excited for right now. Maybe Stalker 2. That's AAA. But yeah, other than that, I can't really think of much.
I don't have a good enough memory to know what's coming out. So
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Is there any AAA games I should be excited about? Because for some reason, Hellblade 2 I was, but I mean, like, with everything happening, is it even going to be good? Hellblade 2 is not even going to sell really good because, like, first off, it's on Game Pass, but secondly, like, it's a AAA game, but it's like indie movie. When I say indie, an indie style game, like its story and its gameplay and its cinematic quality, it's not going to translate to a lot of people. So, like, it's not going to do, like, Call of Duty numbers. So that's going to be another. Are they going to get rid of them if that game doesn't make, like, 10 million sales?
I don't know how to respond anymore.
So you're good? Nothing else?
No.
You want to add to that?
No, it's just be venting.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments. What do you guys think about all this AAA nonsense? What do you think about Xbox? What do you think about EA? What do you think about, we've bitched enough about Ubisoft. It's all over. AAA is like crumbling right now in front of us. And what are your thoughts on it? Anything you want to add to that? Anything else that's come up in the AAA realm that you want to talk about? Let us know in the comments below. Let's move on to some more fun stuff. And that fun stuff is game releases. This is the first Tastecast of the month, so we're going to go through game releases via thegamer.com, so any errors are their fault. Otherwise, I'm just going to read this. We'll talk about what we're excited for. So, May 2nd, we got Indica on PC. Then on May 8th, we got V Rising on PC. I guess that's a full release because that's been out.
1.0, yeah.
May 9th, Animal Well, which is being praised by everybody, came out on PC. Then Autopsy Simulator also came out on the 9th on PC. Then also on the 9th, we got Little Kitty Big City, which is getting like 8s across the board. Cool to see. On Xbox Series S, XS, I don't know why I'm reading those, Switch, and PC. Then Homeworld 3 comes out on May 13th on PC. Then on the 14th, we got Biomutant come out on Switch. I bet that runs great. May 16th, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut on PC. Worth mentioning, based off what we just talked about, because of what happened with Helldivers 2, Sony has been very transparent, good on them. They should be, that to play this, you're going to need PSN. You're going to need the PSN for multiplayer. But they said in countries where you don't have PSN access. You won't be able to buy the game. So everybody's saying to pirate it. I'm not saying to pirate it, but you can pirate it.
Yeah. No advocation for acquiring the game,
But it's a thing you can do. It's a thing.
The single player is really good.
The fucking multiplayer is amazing. So yeah, whatever means you can get that. But yeah, that comes out on the 16th. Also, regardless of that decision, how it's going to negatively affect people, I'm glad Sony was just clear about that. Just fucking let people know. May 17th, we got My Little Pony, a Zephyr Heights Mystery, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. I didn't even know My Little Pony was still a thing. May 21st, we got Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. I told you it's coming out. Xbox Series and PC. I'll be playing that on PC. I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler. May 21st, we got System Shock Remake, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series. And on the 21st as well, we got Paper Trail on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. PS4 and Xbox One getting a lot of love this month. X Defiant apparently is finally coming out the 21st on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Then on the 22nd, we got Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves? Yeah, that sounds a lot better than Wuthering.
It's like a Genshin style game.
On PC. Then World of Goo 2 on Switch on the 23rd. Also on the 23rd, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door on Switch. May 23rd as well, Pine Hearts, Switch and PC. May 28th, Multiverses is finally coming back after it was already out. And I've already spent money on it. And apparently that was a beta. And that is on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC. Apparently Joker's coming out for that as well. May 29th, Nine Souls on PC. Then May 30th, Humanity on Xbox One, Xbox Series. And then the last and definitely least, May 31st, F1 24, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC. Holy shit, this is a real easy month for me. So I'll just hop in real fast. I don't really throw it to you, but there's not a whole lot of games here that I'm like super stoked on. I am curious about Animal Well because everyone's talking it up, but apparently it's just like a platformer puzzle game. There's no action in it.
Is that donkeys?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we will be watching a video on it because I don't know anything about it. I just know people are going nuts about it. And it's good to hear. It's another indie game doing well. Fucking surprise. I am curious about Homeworld 3. I played Homeworld 2 back in the day, and I'm really curious to see what they're doing with that. I am fucking tempted to buy Ghost of Tsushima again, even though I've beaten the single player, and I've done most of the stuff in the multiplayer. I never did the second and third part of the raid, but it's such a good game, guys. If you haven't played it and you're on PC, pick it up. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, I'll probably play on Game Pass. If I like it enough, I will buy it to support them. But I'm interested to finally get my hands on this thing because they've been holding it on with like a stick and a carrot in front of us for so long. It's crazy. I'm kind of curious about X Defiant. It's going to be free to play, I believe. But a lot of people have said a lot of good things about it. But I'm also like really burnt out on the Call of Duty style formula, especially with how it's being misused by Activision. And X Defiant is pretty much a Call of Duty style game from what I've gathered. So, but I'll try it out. I'm always down for new FPSs. I'm cracking out on the finals right now anyway. So, Multiverses, I'll be coming back to, see what the fuck they did. One thing they did that I think is kind of interesting is they made the character models bigger. And at first people were like, why are they bigger? And they want you to be able to see your character better during combat.
They want to sell skins.
Well, but it's not. But it is an improvement because the characters are so small that when you're jumping around all over the place, it's kind of hard to see where the hell your character's at.
Sure.
And so the bigger character, it makes sense to be able to see because I thought they were fucking super small in the original game too. So I think it's a good move with what they're doing there. And yeah, that's it. I mean, this is a real easy month for me. There's no must plays except for Hellblade 2, but I know it's going to be like an 8-hour game, so, I'm not like, I'm fucking going crazy to play it, but
yeah,
I'll definitely check it out.
Nothing.
Nothing? No Animal Well?
Nothing on this list interests me.
I'm a little curious about Little Kitty, Big City, but also I watched the gameplay of it a little bit, and I don't know if that's going to keep my attention for very long, but I'm glad somebody else is trying the cat platformer genre that Stray has
Sure, it's great.
undoubtedly inspired. So yeah, May's an easy month, man. Just a reminder as well, our PlayStation Plus games we'll be playing throughout the month, and at the end of the month talking about on Plus Club are EA, FC 24, Ghost Runner 2, and Tunic, all pretty bite-sized games. And then Party Animals, which we need to play at some point, is our game of the month. So May, if there's a game you need to be playing this month, it is a great month to get that knocked out. All right. Well, let's know in the comments. What games are you guys excited for this month? Is there any games that are not on this list you want to mention? Maybe an indie game. There's always new shit every week on Steam. So let me know. Otherwise, I'll be checking the upcoming games list on there. And yeah, what are you excited for? What are you not excited for? And yeah, let us know what you're thinking about in the comments below. Okay, so let's jump into what we've been playing. And yeah, let's start with you. What have you been playing?
It's going to be very easy. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead. I usually don't talk about mobile games because, it's just same old, but I'm just going to bring it up real quick. I've been playing AFK Journey. I'm almost through the campaign at this point, and then looking forward to actually trying out the season. The game actually, outside of you don't really play it so much. It's basically an auto battler, but the game is a lot better than I was expecting it to be. And this is not an ad, by the way. I know this game's getting advertised like crazy, so I just want to specify this is not an ad. I am legitimately playing it.
It could be though. AFK Journey.
True. But I actually do think the game's pretty fun. For what it is.
Sarah's playing it.
Yep. Her and Chris. I play with both of them. So loosely with where you're in the same guild. That's about it. The co-op is few and far between, which is something I would like to see them improve. So, but yeah, so far pretty good. If you're into, I hate that they call it AFK Journey because there's not a lot of AFK in the game. It's got a big old map that you have to explore. Weird. Yeah. The only AFK thing is your resources happen while, constantly. You're constantly getting resources. So
bad titling then, because when I see that, I'm like,
well, I think it's a brand thing because they did AFK Arena. So
they own AFK.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's their brand. So
weird.
And there are AFK things to the game, but a lot of the game is like moving through a map, and then combat is all automatically played out. You position your units on a grid, and sometimes there's buff tiles and like interactables, but they just fight basically on their own once you hit start. So
okay.
But I've been having fun with it. I'm trying to get through the story because the season started. I want to see what that's like because I've heard people who do talk about mobile games say that the season is actually kind of cool. So I want to check that out. Usually seasons is not an attractive thing for me. So I'm curious to see that. Still playing Goddess of Victory Nike, which, I'm sure you can immediately look at the game, make a million jokes, I understand the initial appeal of the game. I do think the story is very good. That's why I continued playing it. I am completely caught up in the story. Huge cliffhanger. Sucks. I'm going to have to wait like 4 or 5 months for another chapter to come out. And then the 1.5 year anniversary is happening right now, which its story also tied in with the main story and had a huge cliffhanger. So shift up. Fuck you. So many questions right now, and I have no idea what's going on. So, but it's kind of nice to say that there's been a good story in a mobile game. So,
shout out to Shift Up though. They got that game going on, which is typical fare. Then Stellar Blades being like the conversation about like the obvious stuff has kind of ended, and people are just praising it now. So that's cool to see. And then the government in South Korea is gonna make a push to start making like single player AAA games as like a cultural thing for the country.
Help push investing into it, yeah.
Which I think is phenomenal to hear, especially with what we just talked about with Western AAA. So,
well, there's no reason they couldn't. I mean, like, Japan obviously has a big hold on that, but like you have countries like China as well also trying to make a push into that right now. So, well,
and South Korea is not new to gaming. They've been doing the free to play MMO since the fucking beginning. But so they definitely know how to make games
for sure.
Well, I fucking going back to like Lineage and shit. I mean, they've been doing it for a long time. But making a push for a single player is cool because these are the culturally relevant games. These are the things people remember, not the MMOs, unless you're just into MMOs. But people think about, like, again, as I brought up before, The Last of Us or something like that. And so Stellar Blade isn't the highest quality, but it's a pretty fucking good start for dudes who made a mobile game. Like, it's really impressive that they're like
2 mobile games,
but like let's shoot for the stars and make like a big AAA game. And not only did they get really close to the same amount of quality, visually it looks great. People are just liking it and loving it. So
Yeah, I bought it. I haven't played it yet, though.
yeah, I need the time. Otherwise, I can't buy it right now because then I'm going to distract myself with that when I got other games to play. I've been playing one of the games I've been meaning to play lately. So
That was more of me just supporting them making a game that people were bitching about. So
yeah, I still need to buy Unicorn Overlord and Stellar Blades. Those are two games that I just like want to just put my money into the companies.
Yeah.
Before Microsoft finds a way to acquire them and destroy them.
Yeah. The only thing I'm going to say with Nikkei, as much as the App Store and the Play Store will tell you that it's 13 plus, I probably wouldn't agree with that. They're pretty wild with their skins. So
Yeah, I've seen some commercials.
maybe. Wow, the commercials are censored, which is wild.
Yeah, well, it's pretty blatant.
Yeah, it's they know what they're doing. Like they're selling you.
I have no problem with it.
Plot, but then I would say the actual plot is also very good. So take that as you will. Also, the
Double
music.
whammy.
You want to listen to his music, you want to check that out even without playing the game. The guy's name's I think it's like Cosmograph. Music's pretty cool. So I do listen to some of it outside of the game.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then outside of that, I played a little bit of Tunic, which I can't talk about, and I do mean a little bit, so not even really enough to have an opinion. I started to play it and then we had to film. So, not today, but last time we filmed. But, and other than that, the only game that I've been playing that I can talk about at all is I had an itch to play Stardew Valley. I've been playing Stardew Valley again. So that game is really easy to go back to at all times, and plus they have made changes since the last time I played the game.
IGN came out with they've redone their review for Stardew Valley, and I haven't played Stardew Valley in a while, but I agree with their take. They gave it a 10 out of 10, and they said it's a modern day classic.
Sure.
You go back and you think of like Metroid and Zelda and stuff like that. They're basically saying it's one of those types of games that will go down in history, and I do agree with that. Anytime I see Stardew Valley, and we're post like the new excitement of it, and people just love Stardew Valley, and it's just like has kind of cemented itself in gaming as like the staple for that genre.
So I still see people streaming it to this day. So
Yeah, it's just wild, and like even as a dude who doesn't really play the game, I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. I don't know how you could argue against it.
it just offers way too much.
And it's just done with such love.
Yeah,
it's
it's
passion behind
kind
it.
of wild. Because I love the genre anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think outside of some control gripes, but I mean it's indie. I'm not going to complain too much. The game's like so solid. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I guess they've updated and patched it and done all sorts of stuff with it since it came out.
Yeah, he's still making content for the game.
Yeah,
So,
I had no idea.
yeah, at one point, it's either 1.6 or 1.16. I can't remember how he does his version update or numbers, but it's fairly recently came out, and so it added a bunch of stuff. Yeah, the game is awesome, and I just sometimes need something that I don't really have to like think about too much when I get off work, and this has been really helpful for that. So I've been playing that every night for about a week right now. Not made a lot of progress because it's not a fast game. It's a slow game, which is why I'm playing it, because I should be playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but I've hit a point where I know my time investment is going to be huge next time I turn it on, and so I was like, I'm going to take a small break. So that's what I'm doing.
That was my whole experience playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'm just like, well, I'm going to need like 5 hours to play this, and I don't have that right now, so I'll see you later.
So, but I was gonna try to play this weekend, but this weekend's really busy, so we'll see when I pick up Rebirth again. I need to though, but I am in chapter 11 in that game. In case
You're almost there.
So yeah,
You're almost there.
I am, but
Just fucking knock it
as
out.
soon as I started it, they went, "Hey, every zone you've been to, more side quests." I went, "Cool."
That's the name of that game.
So
It's like they built the game at first with some open areas, and then later they're like, all right, now just fill it with shit.
yeah,
Make sure they're never bored.
but
Do not allow boredom.
yeah, my plans that don't really have anything to talk about what I've been playing wise is I want to beat Rebirth this month. I want to start Stellar Blade, and I want to beat Dragon's Dogma if I can. Though I think it's a tall ask at this point to beat 2 games. We'll see.
Dude, you can beat. I mean, you can't, but you can beat
I-
Dragon's Dogma 2 in such a fair amount of time. You don't have to run through it. It's just not. It's not. You can play it for a long time. People have somehow done that, but it's not as like content dense as people say it is.
Yeah.
And so you could get through that shit.
Yeah, it was mostly the travel time because
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of. I walk everywhere in every game.
Oh, dude, I ran all over that fucking map.
Yeah. Yep. But that's it. That's all I've been playing. Nothing super exciting. That's the only reason I even added the mobile games because I didn't have anything else to talk about. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I also played Tunic. About an hour and a half into it. I played it longer than I thought I would. I just like started up to look at it real quick, and I was talking with Sarah, and I just kept playing it, and we're like chatting, and I just kept going. And yeah, I'll talk about it at the end of the month. But I've played it. Other than that, though, I haven't played any other games yet, but they're all bite-sized, so it shouldn't be a problem. Getting those in, still early in the month, kind of.
Middle.
Almost mid, yeah, we're getting there. I fucking thought I was done, and then I got pulled right back into the finals. This season, they're being so smart in how to keep Seth playing the game all season. I had already done the whole season pass before the first month ended. I did I forgot what it's called, but it's basically your account level. I maxed that out, so I got all the stuff unlocked there. They do the smart thing, and I bring it up every Tastecast, but they're doing the smart thing this season, where like every couple weeks they have a new circuit that you have to complete, and you get new items for finishing that. So that is something that's going to keep me coming back kind of every once in a while, but they just released a new mode that's basically search and destroy, and it's fucking awesome. Because I love search and destroy, and they got rid of healing, so it feels a little more slower paced, which is refreshing for that game, because that game's just boom, 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 go, go, go. But with the destructibility too, with search and destroy, it's like a lot of fun. People get really creative with their plays, and then they added 2 new tiers to the battle pass that I had already completed. So I was like, oh shit, I haven't completed the battle pass. That's wild. It ended at like 97, I think, and now it's boosted up to like 100 something. So I'm almost done with it. I've been playing a good amount lately, but yeah, the game's great. I fucking love it. I keep spending money in it because they keep adding new cosmetics.
It's working then.
And they're always high quality. I just bought. I showed you, but I think it's the AKM reload pack. Mm-hmm. There's different reloads and animations for just one gun, and they were also good. I was like, I don't even use the AK that often, but when I do, I want these reloads. They're really fucking cool. So yeah, I bought that. And yeah, the game is awesome. Also, they did an AMA recently. I won't go over all the details, but they're super receptive to everybody talking about what they want from the game, basically. They do have interest in implementing something I've been hoping for. I think it'd be cool if lights in the game, which is the light class, of course, could wall run. Not always, but just like as a perk you can pick over like invisibility or whatever, because the world is... or the levels are built very similar to Mirror's Edge, because same people, and a lot of the same people. And so it's kind of just begging for that. And so if they could implement that as another perk for the light, I think that'd be really cool, and whatever they would add to the other ones. But that is something they're actually thinking about, so that's cool to see. They're also interested in implementing... somebody asked, would you guys ever think of like... letting lights have the ability to turn into like props or whatever as a way to hide, and they're like, we're actually experimenting with something kind of like that right now. So that's also interesting, that you could just be like a plant and then pop out and shoot somebody. Cody was actually, it would add to the whole stealth thing. Like you could hide in a room as defense, especially if you had like the cash out going and just hide in there, and someone comes in and starts doing it, you walk up behind them, kill them. It would totally work. But Cody was telling me, he's like, so you mean like, what would happen if somebody turned into something, you picked them up and just threw them, you didn't know it was them. I was like, or what if a light on your team turned into a canister, you pick them up and you're running with them, and someone just thinks it's just you. But now you throw that at them, and then they turn back into their thing, start shooting them. That'd be fucking crazy.
Very wild.
Yeah, it's like you got a second person with you, and they don't know, so they feel confident. Like it would just open up all sorts of crazy strategies to do. So, which is the name of the game with that game. So, they're adding text chat, which is good because they don't have that yet. Well, good depending on if you want to communicate or not. Hopefully, you can opt into that because the voice chat you can opt in and out of while playing the game. So. And yeah, they got all sorts of crazy plans. They said they're in it for the long run. They got a lot of, like, they're going all in with this game, and they said it's just starting. They also said, because somebody was asking, like, are you guys planning on adding more lore to the game? And they're like, we actually have a whole universe that the finals exists in, and we want to slowly let you guys know more and more about that world as the game goes on. They have a whole plan to, like, reveal more story for the game, which I think is really interesting because I did not play the game for the story at all, but I appreciate that they're building a world. It's not just a shooter, so an online shooter. But yeah, game's great. Definitely highly recommend it. I think the biggest thing it's lacking is they don't advertise strongly for the game. So I guess I'll try and help with that. You should play the finals. It's fucking awesome. It's free to play. Let's see. I played Crow Country, which is a brand new indie game that just came out. It was inspired by old school PlayStation era Square Enix Final Fantasy games and old school tank control Resident Evil games, and it looks just like that. Visually, it looks like an old Square Enix game, but it plays like an old school Resident Evil game with old school inventory systems like Resident Evil, and you can even play it with the joystick and move freely, or if you use the D-pad, if you're using controller, of course, you can play it 10 controls. So they're definitely, aware. Some people might want to play it that way.
Yeah.
Has an interesting system where when you hold, I think, R1, you pull your gun out, but then you can kind of freely aim it. There's a crosshair across the room that you can kind of move around to get headshots. It's a survival horror game, of course.
So kind of Auto?
Kinda. It's kind of weird, but it's... Whoa. We just got haunted by a ghost. Whatever the hell flew across the camera. I've only played the game a little bit, but so far it's really neat. When I saw it, I was like, I have to have that game because that's two different eras of games that were huge for me when I was young. So, especially Resident Evil, but like Final Fantasy, I always really loved. I wasn't super into JRPGs when I was a kid, but they grew on me. But I always loved the stories of Final Fantasy and stuff. So it's really neat to see, indie games just having such a boom right now. And I also love where we're at right now in gaming, where when people were being influenced by retro gaming, it was like 8-bit, 16-bit, and so everybody's making pixel art. Now we're in this weird place where like PlayStation is retro. And has been for a long time, but people are making like PlayStation looking games, and I fucking love that. Maybe that's why like people would see like a Metroid looking game that's modern and they get really excited because they had like deep love for that, and I do too, but not to the same extent as like the PlayStation era. I see these like PlayStation like graphics, and it's so nostalgic for me. I'm like, I fucking love this. What they're doing with that. So it's really cool to see that this dude, made something really cool. Apparently it can be in like 8 hours, but it has like a lot of replayability, I guess. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. It's called Crow Country, in case you haven't seen it yet. Go check it out. I don't know if it's on console, but it should be because it plays great with the controller. So I've played Gray Zone Warfare as much as I could so far because it has a lot of connection issues because it's a brand new, also indie game. That is a extraction shooter. It's PvPvE, similar to a lot of these extraction shooters. Basically, you pick a faction, one of 3. Each faction starts in a specific spot on the map in a triangle shape, so you're all spread out evenly. And then close by towns are filled with NPCs that you have to fight. And then as you get further into the center of the map, enemies become more and more armored with better weapons and better gear. And you might start running into other factions, so the PvP elements there. Mm-hmm. And then in the center of the map is where all the best shit's at. The highest level NPCs are at with the best gear, and where everybody's going to be converging on, basically. So that'll be, highest risk, highest reward.
Kind of like the helicopters in Division.
Yeah, yeah. This game also has a really interesting system where when you start at your base, you can just run out of your base and run across this gigantic map, or it has LZs all over the place. You can go on your map, right-click it, say call helicopter for this LZ, and a helicopter will actually fly in. So while you're hanging on the hub, helicopters just coming in and out, and people are just leaving from your faction. So if you play this game, join my faction. I don't remember what it is, though, so ask me. It's one of them. It's the one in the top left. So just join that one. But yeah, you fly into these LZs. You have missions where it's like, go investigate this location, go find this thing in this town. And so you're going through. It's a tack shooter, so it's realistic. You can die very easily in this game. And if you die, you lose your shit, except for you have a lockbox. You can save some stuff. It's very Tarkov-esque. The game has a very impressive, first off, immersion factor. When you check for ammo, you actually have to pull your magazine out, look inside to see if there's ammo in there, and then when you put it back in your gun, like on the screen, it pops the numbers up and lets you know. That's how you keep track of what's in your magazine. Also, when you eat, you have to like stop and actually eat. Like there's a whole animation to that, drinking, all that stuff. A bunch of videos online. I'm sure you guys have seen already, but just kind of filling in anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about. But then. Really impressive, and I'd like to see this in more games if it works out well. Characters don't have health. You don't deplete health until they die. They have basically blood loss. And so when you shoot limbs, it's minor blood loss. It will kill them over time if they don't stop the bleeding, but you don't just kill them if you shoot them in the leg long enough. You can incapacitate somebody, though, if they're getting hit enough. Like in real life, you would just not be able to function. But as you get closer to the core of the body or the head, these are more vital spots. And they've actually simulated when a ballistic goes through like gel, how in the beginning of the impact, it's smaller, but then it gets bigger and then small again. That actually happens in people's bodies in this game. So if you're hitting the vital areas, you can kill someone in one shot if they're not wearing body armor, if you hit them in the upper body area. If you do enough damage to the organs, it's all accounted for, similar to the head. So it's really kind of crazy. You also have to zero in your scope and all sorts of shit. So they're definitely going for realism. I would be all over this game right now, just playing the fuck out of it. But there's a lot of server issues, and I get disconnected every time I play the game. I was actually out in the field, took a dude out. I was checking his body, and then the game was just like, "Oh, you got disconnected." And I was like, "All right, I don't know if that counts as a death. I don't know if when I respawn again, I'm just going to be in the middle of a bunch of fucking NPCs, or if I'm standing there right now and someone's killing me. Like, I don't know what's going on." So, luckily, it's still early on. I don't have a whole lot of cool gear yet, even though I might have just lost my shit. But it's not the kind of game I want to be dealing with stuff like that. So I'm going to wait till they smooth things out. But I do, once the game is fixed, recommend it. The game's really neat, and one thing that's really neat, and I'd maybe like to get you to try the game, is you start the game in PvP or PvE. So you can play this game without the PvP element. They have a server that people can't shoot each other. So that's kind of fucking cool for the people who don't want to play against other people. But there's still people playing the game. There's a bunch of people on the map running around. So you still get that, social experience, which still, it's neat when you're running around. You run into people on your team, even in the PvP, because you'll see them on the map. And you have like a common goal of you're working for your faction, so you might work together. I ran into this one dude and we're like going through a base together. Like I never talked to him once, but we were both knew we were there and trying to cover corners and stuff. So the game I think will be really cool once it's ironed out. Yeah. So Gray Zone Warfare. Definitely a game I'm hoping to play more soon. And then lastly, I've gotten back into Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth because I have been playing shooters so much lately that I have to teeter-totter back over to the more casual, chill side of gaming. And I got to Chapter 6 in Infinite Wealth. The story's still not rolling yet, but I have unlocked Dondoko Island, I think it's called, which is its own game. I stopped playing Infinite Wealth, and now I'm playing Dondoko Island. And I can go back to playing Infinite Wealth anytime I want via a dolphin, because Japanese love dolphins in their games. Rebirth. But, yeah, Dondoko Island is buck wild. It's basically it's kind of like Animal Crossing, kind of. You're like running a resort. You got to clean up the resort. You got to place things on the resort to attract people to come to the resort to raise the level of your resort. This guy keeps coming back. He's like, you're now at a D rank resort.
So it's a management sim.
Yeah, but there's like dudes who it's not really a spoiler too much, I guess, 'cause it's not story oriented. But like, there's dudes who just treat the island like it's a fucking landfill. So they show up and they're just like dumping trash. You got to beat the fuck out of them, and then you got to clean up the trash. And when you clean up the trash, you get currency, and so you spend that currency, Doko bucks, on infrastructure, your buildings, and then also the house you're living in. You have to like spice up to raise the level of that place to make you feel more comfortable in your own house. The couches are too small for the dude. But
D-O-K-O, Doko?
I think so.
That means where?
I don't know. It's like Dondoko Island, and I think they call them Doko bucks. But it's a lot of fun, and because it's every day starts and the time goes and it gets dark, and it's like you can keep going at night, but if you go too far, you just have to go back to your house. So you only have so much you can do in a day on the island. I'll find myself at like 3 a.m. going like, okay, just one more day. And like, I'll start the day and I'll start doing all the shit. I'm running around breaking stuff down. I'm building infrastructure and, planning out my stuff and selling stuff, buying stuff. And then the day ends and I'm like, okay, this is probably a good safe spot. I could probably do one more day. And then I do the next day and I'm just running around Dondoko Island doing all this shit. And I'm just like, the fuck am I doing? What is this game? I thought I was playing an RPG, and now I'm playing this. So it's kind of buck wild. And I heard a lot of people say this before I ever got to this part too. But now I'm playing it. I'm like, yeah, it is what people have said it was. It could be its own game for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if the Like a Dragon brand starts releasing a resort simulator like this. They could have sold this for like $30. Pretty buck wild, but it's a lot of fun. But I don't know if I'm having fun. I'm busy. I'm just busy.
It's scratching.
It's keeping me busy. Yeah, I'm not bored, but I'm not like, this was great. So I don't know. It's cool though, and I think you'll like it. Whenever you get to that.
I get around to it.
Yep. So that's what I've been playing. As for plans of games I want to play, probably these. I think I'm just kind of locked into these games right now. I don't really have plans for anything else. I should be playing Rebirth, but now I've started playing Infinite Wealth, so I can't play two RPGs at once. And you got me a little discouraged because you're actually playing it. And you're not making it very far because of all the shit you got to do. So, I mean, you are far compared to where I'm at. But
the worst benchmark ever, though.
I know. I know.
I take my time with everything, so.
All right, well, with that, let us know in the comments what games have you guys been playing, what games do you plan on playing, if you have any games you'd like to recommend us play. This is probably the best month, even though no promises. I got too many games I'm playing, but I always like to hear what people are playing and games you would recommend. I know a lot of people are playing that, was it Balatro? It's like a card game.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember the name of it. I've seen a couple people play.
People have been like talking it up, but then everybody's like, it's poker. And I'm like, I'm not into poker.
Buckshot something. I can't remember.
I don't know what that is.
Maybe I'm mixing up two games now.
I think you are, because I'm closer to
I've
whatever
seen
I'm trying to say.
or two games being streamed a lot.
Yeah.
I think
it's like a card game, and everybody says it's like poker. And then when people are like, oh, I don't like poker, they're like, well, it's not actually poker. It's just like poker. I'm like,
yeah,
hey,
it uses a normal deck of cards, but then some of them are like powered up, and like some of like they have like different colors and designs and stuff.
Yeah, card games just do not do it for me. But shout out to Inscription. That game was pretty neat. But yeah, let us know what you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to games you've played. If you've ever played a game in your life, just tell me about that. What's your favorite game? That's a big question. Okay, so we only have 2 videos to watch, because everything's kind of not great right now. But I was going to watch this Animal Well is out via Video Game Donkey. It's his game. Or, he's one of the people responsible for it. Because I don't know anything about this game, and everybody's raving about it. So maybe you're out of the loop too, and you're confused on what the hype is about. Or maybe you are playing, and you're like, yeah, dude, it's fucking great. You should play it. We're going to watch this and see if we can build some hype for it. And then we got one other video after this. And that'll be it. Then everything's over. So... before we watch this, any thoughts on Animal Well?
I don't really think I can have thoughts. I don't know what it is.
You don't know anything about it? Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be weird. This is I'm sure anybody who watched this guy is gonna think this is weird. I've never seen a video game donkey video in my life, and he has. I'm seeing 7.5 million subscribers.
I've only seen his videos through other people reacting to his videos. But
I've heard his name a million times, so I know he exists. But I don't watch a lot of, oddly enough, video game content. I like look up news and stuff because I want to know about that, and I like to talk about the stuff. But I don't watch people play games. I don't really watch a whole lot of people talk about games. So I don't know him at all. But, that an YouTube guy is making an indie game, I think is pretty cool. So this will be an interesting watch.
did he make it or did he publish it? I thought he started his own publishing company.
He's part of it. He published it. Somebody else made it. But still, like, if somebody funds something, they technically...
Yeah, I didn't know if he was like actually... Like,
No, he didn't actually develop it. So yeah, but I'm sure we'll find out here. So yeah, we'll watch this. We'll find out what all the hubbub is about, and we'll talk about it. This is Animal Well is out via Video Game Donkey, and 3, 2, 1, go. I'll try to add commentary so we're not just stealing his video.
Yeah.
But this is advertising his fucking game, so.
Welcome to Animal Well, a mysterious Animalvania and the first ever open well type game. A game of stunning atmosphere, devious
Never heard
creatures,
this voice
cryptic
before.
clues, toyful mechanics, fuzzy friends,
this is definitely
imaginative
brand.
puzzles, and you get a frisbee too.
It's got a cool style.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like a Nintendo game almost.
This
Like a
is
Switch
Big
game.
Mo's first ever video game we've published, and we could not be prouder. It is so different from everything out there right now, and I think it's an experience that's going to stay with you. I say turn this video off right now and go play Animal Well, because it's a game that really is meant to be played. It has been a long journey for
True.
Big Mo, and an even longer one for the game's developer, Billy Basso.
Hello.
Billy, it has been so
That's the
rewarding
guy.
to work alongside you and watch you put this thing together piece by
Somebody
piece.
found
and
out
even
if
though this
you
is distinctly your
put
game,
this in window
you
mode
really
and
made
move the
us feel
window,
like
their
part of the
plants will
team.
move with the
Every
window.
week on YouTube, you can see what I've
Yeah.
been working on. But with Big Mode, it's like we've been cooking up this secret project for years. When we started
The visuals
working
are
on this,
super cool.
me and Leah
I'm
didn't have a
not
baby.
a Metroidvania
Now my daughter is
fan.
sitting
Yeah,
on
same.
the couch next to me watching me play Animal Well. And that's why today, Billy, I want to talk to you about Chameleon Twist 2.
Well, that's
Hell
a very
yeah.
good game, actually. It's actually, sadly, one of the last that was produced.
Wait, I'm messing this up. Today, I want to talk to you about Animal Well.
I made that one.
Could you tell us a little bit about how you made Animal Well? Specifically, which engine did you use to make it?
Well, I made the engine myself.
No, that's not. I thought you did the graphics.
I did that part.
But then who did the music?
That was me.
So you did the engine, the graphics, and the music. Who did the puzzles, though?
The puzzles were me.
Who did the voice of the kangaroo?
Kangaroo. Yeah, that one was me.
So you made this entire video game from scratch
That's
by
why he
yourself.
did it. He made his own engine.
Yes, I
Yeah.
did. Yes.
Meanwhile, I'm out here. I don't even know how to make pretzels yet.
Well, first to start with the dough,
I
you're
don't
gonna
either.
need some yeast, some warm water.
No, don't tell me. I'll figure it out for myself. Like in Animal Well. One of the craziest things about this game is that there is no talking, no tutorials. The dialogue in this game is literally buried in a secret spot.
I actually
wonder
wrote a
if this
bunch
is
of
gonna be like,
dialogue for all the animals where they would like tell you what to do, and then later on when I was trying to make the game more realistic, I realized that animals don't talk, so I needed to cut that all out.
This game is about you figuring it out for yourself.
Or it's gonna be like
and it's
another
so
Dave the Diver
rewarding to do
situation
so.
where I
No
sleep on it and
hand-holding,
then
nobody
play
telling
later
you
and
what
go
to
like,
do
"Oh,
or
shit,
how
I
to
get
play.
it."
You
Yeah.
choose which way you want to go. You choose which tools you're going to use, and you decide how you're going to use them. On top of being an open well type game, Animal Well is also a puzzle game, which almost spooked me off. I can count on one hand the puzzle games that I can actually beat. So if I can do it, you can
beat
definitely
Tetris?
do it. Animal Well has such an incredible
one
range
kid
and
pushed
variety
to
of
beat it.
puzzles, but solving them is very intuitive. Billy has put a lot of thought into making sure the puzzles communicate a language the player has learned through playing the game. But what really sets this game apart to me is how he's made the actual process of solving puzzles so much fun. fun. They're not just satisfying
That's a
on the
cool
brain
effect.
level, but on a more visceral and tactile level as
visuals are
well.
neat.
In Metroid, as you progress, you get better armor, bigger guns. In Animal Well, the treasures you discover are very unconventional. Instead of an ice ray, you'll get the yo-yo. Instead of heat-seeking missiles, you'll get a frisbee. And when you get the frisbee, you'll go, what the hell am I gonna do with this? Until you remember that doggies is in this game. And what are doggies weak to? The frisbee. And that's when you realize this game is a work of genius. I've played a lot of video games with pixelated graphics, but I've never played a game that looks quite like Animal Well. The reflections in the wavy water at the bottom of the screen,
really
the
good.
refractions of the water on the terrain, the hazy neon-colored smoke the ghosts leave behind, the way fireflies illuminate the darker spaces. I just
It is
want to put
interesting
these
how
graphics on a
effect-heavy
plate
it is.
and take a bite. That's why I call this game the lasagna of video games. It's nourishing and flavorful with gameplay rich enough to even satisfy Uncle Tony. Only once you peel back its layers can you understand why you enjoy it so much.
Billy, isn't it like the lasagna of video games, right?
Sure. So layer 1, this is the part of the game where you kind of explore, and there's some animals, and you solve puzzles, and sometimes a scary thing will chase you. But
That is definitely a
with a
scary
little bit
thing.
of determination, this is kind of the part of the game that anybody can enjoy and get to the end of. Layer 2, that's all the optional stuff for the more dedicated players. That's all a lot of the secrets and
Yeah, one of the reviews I
extra
read said
stuff.
that there's literally
And
a
then
secret
layer
in every
3,
single room.
these are all the really kind of puzzles that don't even really present
Dude's got a
themselves
very
as
active
puzzles,
mind, then,
and these
I'd
are
say.
things that people might
Since
not
he
ever
literally did
figure out.
every aspect of the game.
But I know they're there.
And the animals. That's really what this is all about. In Animal Well, you will encounter animals from all over the world. Clingy hedgehogs, helpful chinchillas, Goliath seahorses, peaceful capybaras, hungry chameleons, skittish squirrels, and so many more. Billy, what's the best animal?
Dog.
Animal Well has 6 different breeds of dogs. That's how you know he's not fucking around on this game. This is the type of game where you want to wake up in the morning, drink a cup of coffee, and put on Animal Well. But it's also the type of game when you get sleepy, you turn off the lights, you go, and play Animal Well on the Switch or Steam Deck. It's also a really fun game to talk about with other people who've played it because it is so open-ended. I feel like this has happened so many times where I see Leah playing Animal Well and she is in some zone I didn't even know existed. When you started on Animal Well, you described it as a survival horror game. Since then, it's evolved into something else, but I still see a
hell
lot
is
of
that?
Resident Evil DNA in there. You have limited resources with the firecrackers, you got the fancy lighting effects, whiskers, you got the good music in the safe room, you got the crank, the crows, dogs, a big snake, and there's some pretty intense and creepy moments in there which we've been kind of keeping under wraps. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's really funny to watch people play those parts.
Okay, after the squirrel. Oh, what the fuck?
From the second you pick up the controller, it is so glaringly obvious
Yeah, every
how
review
much
I've read
love
too
Billy
so
has
far
put
is
into
like,
this
I don't
game.
wanna
I keep
spoil
calling
anything,
it
so
an
I
open
can't
world
talk
type
about the
game to be
story.
funny, but that's really what it is. There are
I
so
got
many
all, like,
skips and
synopsis.
tricks and different approaches you can take in overcoming the game's obstacles. So many hidden mechanics and treasures and puzzles and bizarro bullshit that only Billy would ever put into a video game. I've beat this like 20 times since we started working together, and I'm still finding out new stuff. This idea of thinking you know a place and then having the curtain drawn and realizing you didn't know shit. It's a magical thing, and it's what makes Animal Well Animal Well. If you know who I am, though, you know that I can never make a video without talking about Mario instead. Billy, which Mario game would you say was the most influential on Animal Well? Come on.
Really?
now. What else needs to be said? Play this game.
Keep showing that fucking thing.
I assume they don't want to show off too much, so
Yeah.
it's kind of using a lot of the scenes, which is fine. I kind of lost me with the survival horror element.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it can be that scary, but
Animal Well is out now on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Steam.
there's a little bit still going on here. Okay, so that was that video. What do we think?
It was definitely a donkey video.
Yeah, I've never watched him before, but he was actually kind of funny. So.
He's a guy who likes to rant about games
Okay.
and then make it a comedic video at the same time. I think like visually the game's really cool looking. I love At first, I was like whatever, but seeing it in motion really helped.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time really giving it like an identity in that regard. And so like I actually really like that aspect of it now that I've seen it in motion. At first I was just like, hey, I've seen games that look like this. No, I haven't. So not too many games have a lot of the effects and stuff like that, the way he's doing it, I should say. I like hearing that the game is super replayable because he's basically put so much into the game that you're always going to find something. And that there's this story that's unraveling. Because like that's one thing a lot of people like or dislike about Souls games is like you kind of unravel a story through playing it over and over and over again and picking up little bits here and there. So
Remnant too.
Yeah, and Remnant, yeah. So yeah, my only gripe is I really don't like Metroidvania games that much. So it's gonna be hard for me to want to play it. I would be curious to try it. I'm also just kind of curious to possibly even just buy it anyways because knowing that it's just a person being published by a YouTuber, like I kind of would like to support that.
They also did it really smart. They're not just releasing this on Steam. It's on PS5 and Switch, all sorts of shit. So like they really went all out with trying to get this out there. And it's being reviewed so well and praised so much already that like obviously they kind of knew they had something here. So
yeah, for sure. I don't know. It's a neat story for sure. Not necessarily the game itself, but the process of the game and whatnot.
Yeah, that honestly sold it way more than I thought it would because I was already humoring it. So, like Dave the Diver, I heard a bunch of stuff about that game. And I was like, whatever. And then I ended up playing it, ended up really liking it. And I was telling everybody, you got to play this, It's really good. Just buy it. Don't think about it. And, now I'm seeing this game and I really appreciate everything about it. Like that he made his own engine is fucking awesome. I love hearing that shit. And then also that he did everything. Like, as somebody who likes to do a lot of different creative things too, I appreciate people who can do so many different things. And
also, like,
it's impressive.
All the items and stuff too, right? It's not like traditional weaponry and stuff like that. It's just like stuff like you would find in real life. So firecrackers, a frisbee, yo-yo, etc. Like it's
adds to the charm too of like like he's throwing frisbees to dogs and stuff.
Yeah, so
definitely an evolution of the Metroidvania formula though, to find a frisbee and now you can interact with dogs with that frisbee in areas you probably already were in. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I already had like a general interest because of the hype that I'm hearing about the game, and the visual style I thought was cool. But after watching this video and kind of getting some personality behind the charm of the game too, I think it at the very least I should just buy it to support the game because I think like you said, I like the story of how he made the game, and then obviously played at some point. But I do feel compelled to buy it. So
yeah, I don't think I have a lot more to add without actually playing the game. But
I will buy and play it, and I'll let you know if it's a must-play game for you or not.
Okay.
Because I'm in a similar boat too. I'm not a huge Metroidvania fan. I appreciate those games from the past, but I don't actively look for them nowadays. So, but if this game offers something new and fresh to the genre, which at least visually it is, I'll definitely be able to see that. So, All right. Well, let us know in the comments. What do you guys think about Animal Well? Whether you've played it or not, if you are playing it, what do you think of it? Is it a must-play game? Should we check it out? Do you think Chevy will like it? Do you think I'll like it? And are you liking it? Please no spoilers. Everybody is really emphasizing not spoiling stuff in this game. So, if you know something that they're talking about, I'll figure out my own. But yeah, just tell me generally, what do you think of the game? And if you haven't played the game, are you interested in it? Are you planning on picking it up? Or is this not for you? Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below. Last video we got up is Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game, the final preview via IGN. This is another asymmetrical horror movie game where I think one team plays as Killer Clowns, the other team plays as survivors, and it's a game that I'm looking forward to because I like these kinds of games, even though Killer Clowns from Outer Space is cool enough, but I don't have like a strong affinity for it like some people who came out of the woodwork when this game got announced. People were like, oh my god, they're finally making a game of this, and I'm like, finally. I never even thought about this until someone did it. So, this is already a game I'm interested in, though. I'd like to see, what they think of it or anybody thinks of it. So we'll watch this and we'll get a read on that. I don't assume you have anything to offer in this regard for this game, but you can at least give your thoughts after you see it on how you think it is for the genre, I guess. So all right, we'll watch this. This Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game, the final preview in 3, 2, 1, go.
I didn't mean to take the boat all by myself and leave my friends for dead. I really didn't. I thought I was just getting in the boat and then starting it up.
Oh, is it like Friday the 13th where you gotta get in a boat and leave?
Oh no. It turns out that I was signing death warrants, damning them to the clownpocalypse. Oops. But as I sped away on my little outboard, I couldn't help but laugh. They couldn't either. And moments like that, where you've just accidentally left your teammates to die and everyone is laughing about it while trying to escape a group of demented space clowns, are how you know you're having a good time.
True.
And for the record, they made it out anyway. Well, most of them. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is the latest in the asymmetrical horror multiplayer survival subgenre that you should be intimately familiar with if you've ever played Dead by Daylight and its myriad imitators. Killer Clowns differentiates itself from the competition in a couple of ways. First, there are just more players. 3 killer clowns and 7 humans, which makes for more exciting and frequent skirmishes than a 1-on-4 game. Humans can also fight back.
Friday the 13th.
Crowbars, baseball bats, 2x4s, knives, revolvers, and my personal favorite, shotguns, are scattered around the map and yours for the taking, though you'll have to work around ammo and item durability. And this isn't just a slow the clowns down and run away kind of proposition. You can send these demonic space clowns to the great circus tent in the sky, at least for a little while. Once you knock a clown down, you can either stab him in the nose with a sharp object, or pop it like a balloon with a gun, to knock them right out of their oversized shoes and back to the waiting to respawn screen.
How long, though?
The clowns, however, aren't defenseless. They're armed with cotton candy ray guns that can turn you into the biggest cotton candy cocoon you've ever seen, boxing gloves, balloon dogs, a rubber mallet, and so on. The clowns tend to dominate in up-close and personal combat,
this is buck fucking
unless
wild.
the humans roll up with a shotgun or overpower them with sheer numbers. But the humans are faster, though sprinting is noisy and risks.
Dude,
telling
where
the
are
clowns
my
where
Friday
you
the
are.
13th people
It makes for
at,
some
where you
tense,
just get the whole
exciting,
team
and
to go
strategic
fuck up
combat
Jason?
encounters, especially when you're playing a human. You knock a clown down and your knife breaks before you can pull off the execution, and you're running for your life. Alternatively, you can be beating down a human as a clown and then see his buddy show up with a shotgun and punch your ticket for a one-way trip on the Dead Clown Express population.
It's weird how
Ooh.
it's
really good stuff, and I've seen
part
fights turn
Dead
on
by
a dime
Daylight,
because
part
someone
Friday the
showed up at the
13th,
right moment,
also
something
a
broke,
shooter.
or someone made a good play. Things escalate further as the match goes on, and the clowns gain abilities like Jump, which allows them to instantaneously jump across the map, and Hypnotic Lure, which, well, lures humans to you. When you absolutely, positively need a human to eat a Mortal Kombat-style clowntality, which can range from launching them into space with your mallet to serving up a heaping helping of pies to their face that kills them instantly, no cotton candy cocoon required, except no substitutes. And, in a particularly nice touch, you can change them on the fly, mid-match. In general, the clowns want to cotton candy the humans up, hang them on clown hooks as, one presumes, a dark offering to some particularly nasty space clown god to speed the arrival of the clownpocalypse. Humans want to avoid that and escape before the game clock hits 0 and the clownpocalypse, long foretold, finally happens.
I would not eat a cheeseburger.
But escaping isn't easy. Not only will you need to find the exits on the map, you'll need to find the stuff you need to open them or make them work. Remember that boat I was telling you about earlier? To use it, you'll need to find gas and spark plug. I also found another barricaded exit over a rickety bridge. To get out, you'll need a strong melee weapon to bust open the barricade and then a key to unlock the gate. What you need for an exit isn't always immediately obvious when you're looking at it though. I was running from a clown and only had the key, so that ended up about as well as you'd expect. But it also never changes for that particular exit. If you know how to do the boat, you'll always know how to do the boat. After a few matches, you'll know how everything works.
Yeah, so it's
But
literally
even if
Friday
you're
the
like
13th,
me and you
both
get
guns.
cotton candied, hooked, and more or less packed up, that doesn't mean you're out. Your teammates can always rescue you, but if you do buy it, there are little mini games you can play that reward your still living teammates, or you, more on that in a second, with items to help them out. Whether you're playing clown-themed whack-a-mole, shooting baskets, popping balloons, or
Yeah, 'cause otherwise
whatever
you're supposed
else,
to leave
there's always
games
something
like
to do, and you're always helping out your team. And then there's the Resurrection Machine, a one-use revive that calls every dead human back from the afterlife for a last-ditch shot at glory.
Everybody?
And of course, near the end of the game, new exits, like an ice cream truck that literally crashes through the level, come into play. Both of these things, in fact, did come into play during my play session, so it truly isn't over.
These clowns
got
to be fucking overpowered because there's so many
clowns are supposed to be
things
funny,
they're giving you.
and
Yeah.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space nails the humor that comes with adapting such an absurd cult classic movie, while also carving out a unique space for itself in the asymmetrical multiplayer genre.
This is so
I've
weird.
played Killer Clowns twice now, at PAX East and for this preview event, and I've had a blast with it both times. It's the kind of game I can see myself squatting up for, and it has real potential to stand out in a crowded market. In fact, during our multiplayer session, the fine folks at developer Ilphonic told me they were confident they had made the
Ilphonic's
best
making it.
Clowns from
Okay.
Space game in human history. And
forgot.
however Killer Clown shakes out, that's a hard claim to dispute. As for me, I can't wait to get some friends together and survive the clownpocalypse. Next time, I won't leave them standing on a pier, watching me sail into the sunset. Probably. For more, check out our recent previews of Hellblade.
I won't. All right. Well, what'd you think?
I think it's ridiculous looking, which I'm sure is obviously very intentional. I don't know anything about the IP it's coming from, so I'm probably going to be very ignorant in that regard. But the whole clown alien thing really just kind of isn't doing it for me. It's very goofy for me, and that could be fun. Who knows? Like, it's hard to obviously judge it on visuals alone.
Well, there's definitely no, except for not wanting to die, I guess, there's no fear factor of this game. Like, there's nothing scary about those guys, but...
yeah, just the stress of getting away from them.
But fun factor-wise and how zany the game is, I mean, you know, it might do something for the game in terms of, like, advertising.
Yeah, I think it's good that they're taking obvious inspiration, but also like doing their own thing with the, what is it, 7v3 or whatever I think they said.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a lot of people, but it also hopefully will make matchmaking a little easier too, with having that kind of pool to dig into. Because I know that can be an issue sometimes with games like Dead by Daylight.
Especially with Killer. Because
Yeah.
if people aren't playing Killer, like, you're waiting a while.
It does seem like the killers are, at least from the mechanics standpoint that we've heard, pretty strong. Because to be able to give the humans just a one, like, hey, come back, is kind of crazy. But yeah, outside of that, I don't really have too many thoughts. It's not my genre. It's not an IP I care about, and even IP aside, like, clowns in general are just like not something I care about at all. So
I care about them in the sense that I want to get together with 6 other people and just beat the shit out of them. But also playing them might be fun. This is a game for me. I don't have a lot of love for the IP. I've seen the movie. It's you know, it is what it is. But and I think it's amazing someone's even making a game of that. But the gameplay looks interesting enough, and the bigger thing I think is even more interesting is the amount of layers to the gameplay that they've thought about. And so my first thought on that is it's either going to be a lot of fun because they've thought of a lot of different variables, which makes games like this better when there's more different outcomes that can happen, more ways to die, more ways to survive. That's fun. I think it's cool. You can pull people in like that. But if they don't flow well, or they're too complicated, or like certain factors just don't work out in games more often than others, it can also hurt a game too. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre has a lot of variables to it, but a lot of people just kind of rely on specific ones, and a lot of people when they first play that game don't know what the fuck is going on, and so that game's kind of been having trouble, you know, maintaining growth. I don't even know where it's at now, but last time I was playing it, like, you know, they're making stuff for it, but the community was kind of dwindling at that time. So hopefully it's doing well. It's actually a really fun game. It just has, had some issues when the game first came out, and then complication issues. But this game could have a similar thing to it. And he even mentioned in the video that, in a very populated genre, he thinks this could stand out, which is pretty big praise, because this genre is really hard to break into. You got to do something pretty special to stand out from at this point Dead by Daylight that's so established. It's like the wow of this genre. Like, people are going to play it, they'll try other things, they'll go right back to it because they've invested so much time to it. I'm one of those people. I don't play right now, but when I do play, I play a lot, and I've played it quite a bit. So yeah, but I do look for games like this. I really enjoy this genre. The Friday the 13th game, it's a shame that it ended because it's a lot of fun. It was janky, but it's a lot of fun. Chainsaw Massacre is a lot of fun as well. So I'm hoping this is good when it comes out. It's definitely a different vibe. There is no scary factor to it, it seems. Like, even the UI is like 8-bit, colorful, fun. So they're definitely embracing the very campy B-rated nature of the movie. So yeah, when it just comes down to like playability, that's going to be it, and that's what it seems like they're really leaning into. And I like all the different variables. I will be curious to see how they feel when you're playing, though, in terms of like how the clowns come back, how long are they gone. That's going to be a big thing. It's going to feel really annoying if they just keep coming back like often. Because when you kill one of these dudes in a game like this, it's like, oh fuck yeah, they're gone. They're that gives us an edge, but they come right back in like 30 seconds. It's not going to give you a lot of time to do anything. But also bringing a whole team of 7 people back, or 6, I'm sure somebody has to be alive for that to happen. That's fucking crazy. Like, if I was playing a team of 3, just me and 2 other people playing, and like we've been thinning out the team, and then they just bring the whole team back, like that's a lot. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that feels fair. Hopefully there's quite a task you have to do that. So balance would be the name of the game in terms of having this many variables. But I do think I'll probably pick this up when it comes out. I'm sure Cody would also play this. So probably. Hopefully it has crossplay. That's a must for a game like this. Don't launch it without that. Make sure it works correctly. Make sure I can get my XP when I play the game, unlike Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which took like a month for them to fix that shit. And yeah, I mean, I'm down to play it. I think it looks fun. But yeah, I get, from your perspective, you're already not really into that genre anyway, and what the fuck are the clowns even going to mean to you? Like, Who cares? It barely mean anything to me, except for I think it's goofy. So, and I like weird, goofy shit. So, yeah, looks fun. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, let us know in the comments what do you guys think about Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game. Are you sold? Are you not sold? Do you have an affinity for the movie? And what looks most interesting to you when it comes to the game? What's your favorite asymmetrical survival game? Probably Dead by Daylight, but if you got another one, throw it out there. And yeah, let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to this game and all the things we've talked about in the comments below. But we got to go celebrate Chevy's birthday. So with that, I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. And thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Chevy, for joining me. Until the next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.